Good morning. Hello. Welcome, everyone, to the Universalist Unitarian Church of Farmington. My name is Mark Petrie, and I am part of the fundraising committee here at UUCF. Welcome to everybody. Our minister, Reverend Leonetta, is out of the pulpit today. Let's see, if you could all please join me in singing the Song of Community, which is on page 5 in your orders of service. And Diana will take us away here. Please stand as you're willing and able, please, and we'll sing along with Diana. We'll weave a love that green's sure as spring, then deepens in summer to the fall autumn brings, resting still in winter to spiral again. Together, my friends, we'll weave on, a love that heals, friend, that bends, friend, that rising and turning then yields, friend, like the mountain to rain or frost in the spring, or darkness that turns with the dawn. It's by turning, my friend, it's by turning that love moves on. We'll weave a love that opens our eyes to see one another beyond all disguise, where our trust like water will splash away lies. Together, my friends, we'll weave on, a love that heals, friend, that bends, friend, that rising and turning then yields, friend, like the mountain to rain, or frost in the spring, or darkness that turns with the dawn. It's by turning, my friend, by turning that love moves on. We'll weave a love that touches our pain, that comes like the water to drought-fevered plains, so the roots once withered sing praise to the rain. Together, my friends, we'll weave on, a love that heals, friend, that bends, friend, that rising and turning then yields, friend, like the mountain to rain, or frost in the spring, or darkness that turns with the dawn. It's by turning, my friend, by turning that love moves on. We've a love that holds the despised, stranger who wanders the focus of lies. Is it here as mountains with earth's victimized? Together, my friends, we'll weave on, a love that heals, friend, that bends, friend, rising and turning then yields, friend, like a mountain to rain, or frost in the spring, darkness that turns with the dawn. It's by turning, my friend, by turning that love moves on. sap pushing branches to wake from their sleep, bearing leaves burnt amber with morning's full sweep. Together, my friends, we'll weave on, a love that hears, friend, that bends, friend, that rising and turning then yields, friend, like the mountain to rain, or frost in the spring, or darkness that turns with the dawn. It's by turning, my friend, by turning that love moves on. Our opening words today come from Elizabeth Lerner Maclay. As drops of rain that find each other and build to become a track, a rivulet, a stream, a river, a sea, so are we drawn together. So are we fortunate to find each other. So are we bound together on this shared passage toward an unknown ocean and eternity. We light this chalice today for all of the hands that are doing the good work, building up their communities and supporting those less fortunate, both in resources and in spirit. So again, welcome. Again, my name is Mark Petrie. Our minister, Reverend Leonetta, is out of the pulpit today. Today's guest speaker is Nicholas Kristock, and we welcome here today. Thank you so much for being here, Nicholas. I'd like to extend a special welcome to any visitors today. Please join us in the lower level after service for coffee hour. Newcomers may enjoy introductory conversations downstairs at the welcome table with our members. I'd like to invite any first-time visitors to please stand and let us know where you're from and how you heard about us. We would like to meet you. Anybody out there? No? Okay. We just have our members today. That's terrific. During the service, we have supervised nursery for babies and toddlers and religious education classes for children and youth. Please see our religious education coordinator, Natalie Case, for more information. Should you need to leave the service for any reason, there are 2 other locations in the building where the service is broadcast. An usher can direct you. Our UU principles begin with our pledge to affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of all people. As we are a welcoming congregation, we welcome into our community people of all races, sexual orientation, belief systems, and ages, including any who are fidgety and create youthful noises. These little humans represent our future, and we welcome them fully in our meeting house. And I'd like to please invite the people who have some announcements up to make some announcements, please.
Good morning, Linda Brown. I have 2 hats today. So first I'll do the fundraising hat. And that is, hey, I want a show of hands here. How many people shop at like Home Depot or Lowe's? Well, that's a lot of people. So have you heard of the Great Lakes Script program? That's something we've started here at the church. You can sign up online. You can order things on your own online. If you were to, and all of your purchases, if you shop at a retailer that participates, earns a percentage of that purchase, entire purchase, back that goes to the church. So if you were to buy something at Lowe's or Home Depot, 4% of your entire purchase would come to UUCF. Now, I have a project that I'm about to do that is going to cost, a fair amount of money at the house, and I just did a quick calculation when I buy my stuff at Lowe's, I can get $65 back to the church. I'm not spending any more money than I would already spend, but I've just signed up for that money to come back to UCF, so $65 with 30 seconds of my effort. How many people shop at Barnes & Noble? 7% of your purchase. Starbucks? 7%. The list is about 400 stores long, a lot of stuff in our area. Restaurants, can go up to 15%. How many people fly on Delta now and then? 4% of your ticket price. So it's a great deal for us with a little tiny bit of effort on your part and no extra money. So that's the best fundraising ever. Some people, though, we've talked about it a little bit before, and maybe it takes a, oh, I forgot to sign up for that. So, or if you have any questions or you want a little extra guidance on that, October 13th, 20th, and 27th, I will be holding a class after church, and I will show you exactly how to sign up. I'll give you a handout, and if anybody wants one-on-one help, I'll get you signed up. So the only thing is, I would suggest you would want to tie this to your checking account, because it's 15 cents per order versus if you do it with a credit card, it's like 2.5% per order. So bring your checkbook with you so that we can, if you want to sign up that day, we can sign you up and I can help you with that. That's probably the most difficult part, is linking those two together. But please come on one of those days or see me if you want some personal help. Other hat is the choir. And tomorrow, we are going to be singing at Halstead Place tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. And our esteemed Barb Windsor is joining us for as part of the choir, because that's where she lives. And people are welcome to attend. It's open to anybody who wants to come. 6 o'clock at Halstead Place, which is in your order of service, and it's just up the street here, about 5 minutes away. There you go. Or carpool from here. So anyway, love to see you all there. Thanks.
Good morning, Tom Adis. Normally I'm up here for fundraising, but my wife, Julie Adis, is the Vice President of Administration, and she couldn't make it today, so as the husband, I get pulled into that role. She has the fortunate ability to recognize the staff here and the tremendous work they do. And today, I'd like to mention Dave Petzel's birthday is tomorrow.
Terrific.
In addition to that, before we clap, here's the one we really need to clap for, because there are a lot of days that are specified, but on October 2nd is National Custodian Appreciation Day, and I really think Dave deserves that, and we've got something for you, Dave. Thank you.
Hey. Thank you, Dave.
Hi, my name is Ricky. I'm on the publicity team. I'm trying to get all of our social media updated with events that we're doing and sermons. So if you're on a committee and you have announcements or you want to draw more people in, just let me know and I will advertise it for you.
Okay, thank you, Ricky. Do we have anybody else waiting? I do have one announcement. Next Sunday, October 6th, the social events team is sponsoring a potluck lunch after the service. It's October 6th. We're going to be bringing chicken wings. That's the committee. Please bring a dish, too, if you can, to pass it on. We will have somebody in the kitchen prior to the service to help with dishes that need refrigerating or heating. Terrific. And just as your fundraising chair, I just want to remind you that November 2nd is our Back to the 80s service auction. And make sure, if you'd like to donate something, please get it in as soon as possible. There's an online link on our the homepage of our website, also under the events tab. So check that out. And if you have any questions, please do let me know. Terrific. Please join me in singing our first hymn. Rise as you're willing and able for number 121, We'll Build a Land. Blue helmet. We'll build a land where we bind up the broken. We'll build a land where the captives go free, where the oil of gladness dissolves all mourning. Oh, we'll build a promised land that can be. Come build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. We'll build a land where we bring the good tidings to all the afflicted and all those who mourn, and we'll give them garlands instead of ashes. Oh, we'll build a land where peace is born. Come build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. We'll be a land building up ancient cities, raising up devastations from old, restoring ruins of generations. Oh, we'll build a land of people so bold. Come build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. Come build a land where the mantles of praises resound from spirits faint and once weak, where like oaths of righteousness stand her people. Come build a land, my people, we seek. Come build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. Please join me in reading our litany in your order of service. This is the home that love made. It is full of the love that the founders felt when they planned out these walls and raised these beams and provided this land. It is full of the love of all who have worshiped here, those who have celebrated and grieved here, babies dedicated, couples married, and family members mourned here. It is full of the love of the staff and volunteers who have served it, full of their hopes for this congregation, their hard work, and their acts of dedication. This is the home that love made. It is full of our love, the love of this community, despite differences and disagreements. It is this love that holds us together as a people. May our homes and lives be made from love. So at this time, I'd like to invite anybody who has a joy or a sorrow of a personal nature. Feel free to come forward to the microphone here and share it with us. Just to start us off, I have to say I have such a great joy. My wife Kelly and I are celebrating 10 years of marriage today. So, is she here? Where did she go? There she is. Hi, Kelly. And it's also her birthday, so another joy. Thanks, Liz. Please.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Joan Daly, and boy,
Please join me in reading our unison words of offering as we acknowledge our generosity and intention to continue support and build this welcoming community. We give generously to support this church where love, justice, and equality inspire our acts of service and compassion. We dedicate these gifts to all that we stand for within the Unitarian Universalist tradition. Thank you, Diana. Our reading today is, oh, I'm sorry. Are we doing reading? Yes. I've got the right order here. Our reading today is entitled Fierce Urgency by Ashley Haran. My 4-year-old daughter has taught me this lesson. When a child wants to derail business as usual, to curb the hubris of adults who dare believe in schedules and plans and productivity, one fierce little body and one clear, piercing voice, strategically applied to the right pressure point, will change the course of the day's events. My comrades in organizing have taught me this lesson. When a silenced people want to be heard, to raise from dry bones a living, breathing dream of new ways of moving, being, incarnating freedom, one small, tenacious group whose hearts beat in rhythm, rising shoulder to shoulder against the inevitable, will bend the arc from impossibility to hope. Our young climate leaders are teaching us this lesson. When the grown-ups and the old movements are too slow, as the sea levels rise and the hurricanes rage and the migrants flee and the corporations profit, one generation, both young and silenced, refusing to accept the inheritance of doom, will take toward the streets and move us toward life. Blessings upon them as they teach us, organize us, beckon us in, and call us out. May their fierce urgency and uncompromising clarity show us the path toward healing and freedom and hope. With that, I have the pleasure of introducing our guest speaker today, Mr. Nicholas Kristock. He is a former international soccer player who turned serial entrepreneur and servant leader. He has found his fit in the social impact world by building businesses that solve problems. In 2015, Nicholas founded Fleece and Thank You, an organization that provides psychosocial support and programs to children in the hospital. He has also founded several other organizations since then and lives his life by a code: build, empower, serve. Please welcome Nicholas Kristock.
Rope. It's a really simple thing, isn't it? You know, we've been using rope for as long as we've been recording history. As far back as we go, we know that we've used rope. They used rope to tie to stones to build the pyramids. They used rope to pull the sails to charter new worlds. There's actually, even today, the Cordage Institute, believe it or not, where people have a full-time job of analyzing rope and approving it for commercial use. And as we think about rope today, I'd like to ask a question. If you could go to the next slide back there, please. You can just hit the arrow. And one more time. What makes the strongest rope? My name is Nicholas Kristock. I am not a presenter, but I am a storyteller. If you could go to the next slide, please. Before I tell you some stories, I do have just a couple disclaimers as we get started here. The first one is that we will go from strangers to friends during this storytelling. I really believe that we're put on this earth to help each other. And so at the end of this presentation, you'll see my cell phone and my email. And if you have any questions or need anything on this life journey, I hope that you'll reach out and consider us friends by the time we're done here. The second disclaimer is that you have heard a lot of presentations, and the chances are so high that you won't remember this one. You won't remember my name or my face or the words on the screen. My only chance for you to remember the next 20 minutes is if I can get you to feel something, and that's going to be my goal. The third disclaimer is I'm a big sports fan, and I'm a fan of the head fake. And I encourage you to be on your toes and watch for the head fake in this presentation. And the final disclaimer, quick show of hands, temperature check of the room. Raise your hand if you've ever played with Legos. Oh, wonderful. Now raise your hand if you've ever seen Legos. Perfect. 100% of the room has either played with or seen Legos. And when you're building something out of Legos, you build this awesome structure, and usually when you look in the box, you have a couple of these left over. The two-prong Legos. Today's talk, I'm speaking to the two-prong Legos. For you, this talk will fit. For some of you, it won't, and that's okay. If you need to go to Instagram or anything and scroll, that's totally fine. But for the two-prong Legos, we're already engaged. We're going to keep rolling here. You can go to the next slide, please. So I figured we'd start at the beginning. This is me when I started my Ray-Bans modeling career. Go to the next slide, please. I eventually graduated up into some higher-end designer clothing modeling. You can go to the next slide, please. And for a while, a lot of people knew me by this. I was born and raised in the Novi area. I went to Oakland University to play soccer in college. And for a long time, people knew me as the soccer player at Oakland University. And while I was there, I was privileged to be surrounded by some awesome teammates and friends. Now, I have some of the best friends in the world. And my friends and I were sitting in our apartment weekend after weekend saying, we really want to change the world. So we said, we'll start a charity to change the world. So we filed our paperwork with the mission statement to change the world. And we're so excited. And 2 weeks later, we get the paperwork back, and we open it up in the apartment. Denied. Turns out you can't just start a charity to change the world. And as we're reading this denial letter from the state of Michigan, our friend Kristen walks into the room. She says, guys, I don't know what you're doing. It looks like nothing important. I need some help. I'm trying to go on a missions trip to Haiti, and I can't afford my $1,000 plane ticket. So we got off our butts, and we went around to college dorms and frat houses, and we collected cans. And we did that for the next 5 weekends. And we actually collected 10,000 cans and gave Kristen $1,000 to go on her missions trip. You can go to the next slide, please. And so we said, well, this was fun. We could do this again. And so we started Gigs for Good, and this is back in 2010, which was a charity to fund missions trips, just the transportation for high school and college students who wanted to go abroad or domestically and serve somewhere but couldn't afford the transportation to get there. And through Gigs for Good, we were able to send kids to Honduras, Haiti, Jamaica, and California. And it was an awesome, awesome taste for me in how you actually start a charity that can change the world. Go to the next slide, please. And after college, I get to the end of my university career, and I say a phrase that so many of you have probably heard before: I have no idea what I want to do with my life. And I really didn't know, and all the opportunities in front of me did not seem like my fit. And at the end of my college soccer season, I get this door that opens up to play soccer abroad. And it was the only door that wasn't something here. So I took it. And then for a while, a lot of people knew me by this, as the crazy American college student who went overseas 9,155 miles away to a continent where he knew not a soul and played soccer for a living. And soccer was really great, and Australia was awesome, and it is as cool as it sounds. But I had a lot of free time on my hands. And so I started using that free time to dive into charities, because I had had this taste of Gigs for Good back here in America, and I wanted more of it. So I ended up working in 5 major charities, 4 of which served kids in the hospital, and 1 of which served our homeless population. Go to the next slide, please. While I was also in Australia, I had the privilege of being a part of some really special moments that I really felt like I made a difference. One such moment, it was before a soccer game, and one of the veterans on the team named Daly, during warm-ups you could tell something was off about Daly today. He was really nervous, and he calls us all in the middle of warm-ups, like unprecedented, right? Like we're getting ready for a game. He says, guys, tonight I'm going to propose to Beck. This was his girlfriend of 8 years. He tells us how he's going to do it. We're going to have these shirts on. It's right before the kickoff. And so we come out. Beck comes out thinking she's doing a marketing promotion for how well do you know your partner. And as she turns her back to us, we flip our shirts up. She turns around. She sees, will you marry? When she turns back around, Daly's there on one knee with a shirt that says me. She said yes. And this actually caught so much attention that overnight this video went viral across Australia. If you don't believe me, next slide. The next morning, we were all over Fox Sports Australia. And I bring this up just to let you know that for 37 seconds, I was mildly famous in Australia. You can go to the next slide, please. But like I said, I was able to dive into 5 major charities, one of which served the homeless population. So I met the founders of Orange Sky Laundry 6 months into starting that nonprofit. It was the world's first mobile laundry service for the homeless. We had 2 vans with washers and dryers inside the van. The van had its own power source and own water filtration system. And we could drive this van up to anywhere where homeless friends were congregating, and we could wash and dry their clothes and give them meaningful conversation. Go to the next slide, please. And as we were rolling vans out into new cities, we had to go to Sydney, Australia, and we decided instead of just going to Sydney and seeing where the van was needed by talking to service providers, what if we actually lived homeless for a week in Sydney, Australia, to really figure out where this van was needed? And so for a week in Sydney, Australia, you would have found me with just sweatpants, a t-shirt, and a zip-up, wandering the streets of Australia, really trying to learn where this van needed to go. The first night I was there, it was winter for them. And I'm coming in thinking, okay, I'm from Michigan. You guys don't know what winter is. I'll be fine. I've got a zip up. And it was cold. And it got to like 11 o'clock at night. And I'm thinking, man, if I don't find something warm, I'm going to be in trouble. One of our homeless friends that we were talking to said, hey, there's one final van that services for the night. It's at 11:30. It's a St. Vinnie de Paul van. You can still catch it if you leave now. So I'm sprinting through downtown Sydney, and we catch this van. And as this van's getting ready to leave, I notice that there's 2 blankets in the back. And I ask the volunteer, hey, do you mind if I use one of those? And he hands me this blanket. And so this is a picture of me camping out on the steps of a Giorgio Armani store with the blue blanket that I was given, which was a savior. You can go to the next slide, please. While I was in Australia, I also had the privilege to travel to the surrounding islands, and one of the trips was to a country called Vanuatu, a very, very small country, but actually is ranked as one of the happiest countries in the world. Now, when I was in 8th grade, I actually went to Montreal with my family, and I went in somewhere to go to the bathroom. When I came out, I lost my family. And I'm wandering the streets of Montreal asking people for help, and no one helped me. If you're from Montreal, I apologize if I'm giving you a bad reputation right now. But it was a really scary situation. Go to Vanuatu, completely different. I get off the plane, and the people were so nice. And my friend and I had actually booked a tour around the whole island. And we show up for this group tour, and no one else had booked the tour. But this awesome gentleman named Ronnie, he actually just drove us around and showed us parts of the island that no one on the tour would have even gotten to see, including going to these random mud baths. And so that's how I ended up in a mud bath in Vanuatu with a native. And it was incredible, and he was so nice. You go to the next slide, please. Also, while I was in Australia, I told you I worked in 4 major children's charities. Probably the most well-known one, Make-A-Wish Australia, where I was able to grant 12 wishes for kids facing life-threatening illnesses. Now, one of the most memorable wishes that I got to grant was for a 16-year-old girl named Chloe. And as we're sitting at the kitchen table, talking to Chloe and her mom about her wish, we say, okay, Chloe, what's your most cherished wish? And she says, I want to go to the Great Barrier Reef. And her mom has a visible reaction to that. So we're just kind of like, okay, what's going on here? And we're like, oh, is everything all right? And mom says, yeah, it is. It's just, Chloe, why do you want to go to the Great Barrier Reef? You hate fish. And she says, from the day that I was diagnosed, my dad looked me in the eye and said, I'll be at every treatment. And he was at every treatment, so much so that he got let go from his job. And all he wanted to do in life was see the Great Barrier Reef. So she used her wish to thank her dad for being there for her. So many powerful stories from my time working with Make-A-Wish. You can go to the next slide, please. And now most people know me by this. So at the end of my soccer journey in Australia, 2015, I moved back to America. And it is heavy on my heart to start a charity. And it's heavy on my heart to start a charity to help kids in the hospital, because that was something I was pouring a lot of my time into and getting to know those stories like the one I just shared. But I knew that the world does not need more of the same charity, but it does need a charity that's doing something not being done. And so as I'm landing in LA, I get a text message from my twin sister, who is a pediatric oncologist nurse at Mott Children's Hospital. And she says, Nick, when you're home looking for a real job, which is fine, she's my twin sister, soccer is not a real job, she can tell me that, you should make a blanket for kids in the hospital. Now, I'm an aggressively curious person, so I instantly start asking why. Why would I make a blanket? How many do you need? How often do you need them? And her answers back to me are, we always need them. They dramatically change the hospital environment, and we never have enough. So I call every other unit at her hospital, and I get the same answers. So then I call every hospital in the state of Michigan that serves kids under 18, and everyone gave me the same answers. We always need them. We never have enough, and they dramatically change the hospital environment. Go to the next slide, please. So I said, this is it. So in October of 2015, we started Fleece and Thank You, which is a journey every single year to provide 30,000 blankets for the 30,000 kids on average that go into the hospital under the age of 18 across the state of Michigan. It's our mission that no matter what time of year, no matter what hospital a child goes to, if they have to go in and stay at least one night, that there is a colorful, comfortable fleece blanket waiting for them on the bed. Go to the next slide, please. So again, I ask, what makes the strongest rope? Now, if you know anything about rope making, it starts with 3 strands, right? And these 3 strands are knotted together at the top, right? And you take 2 and you twist them in the opposite direction of the first one. And then to make it stronger, you take those two and you reverse it. You twist them again in the opposite direction. And every time you twist in opposite directions, it actually makes the rope stronger. You can hit the next slide, please. And I know that the strongest rope is made of many, many strands. And today I've brought you some of my strands, some of those stories that have made my rope really strong. But I told you at the beginning that there was a head fake coming, didn't I? Go to the next slide, please. Because all the strands in my rope actually do line up with the core values that Elizabeth shared with me about the congregation here. When I was talking about Gigs for Good, I really learned about the acceptance of one another. Next slide, please. When I told you about living homeless, I truly stared face to face with the inherent worth of human beings and compassion in dealing with a fellow human. Next slide, please. When I told you about Vanuatu, I truly learned about the global community and how we are all in this together. Next slide, please. When I shared with you about Make-A-Wish, I learned about the right of conscience. Next slide, please. When I started Fleece and Thank You, I really saw full circle how everything is interdependent on this planet that we live on. Next slide, please. And so what makes the strongest rope? Next slide, please. I know that it is made up of many, many strands woven together through these seemingly opposite experiences that make it stronger and stronger with each weave. Next slide, please. So I'll leave you with a short story here. So there's a professor who walks up to start the first day of class, and he says, I'm looking for a volunteer. Looking for a volunteer, someone who is really, really artistic. And a couple hands shoot up, and he calls on Abby. And Abby comes up to the front of the room. He says, Abby, I'm going to give you a paper and a pencil, and I want you to draw something unique and amazing. And he hands her a piece of paper, and then he hands her a pencil. But it's a dull, unsharpened, brand new pencil. You know what I'm talking about, with the really flat tip. And he turns away, and Abby's just looking at him like, what am I supposed to do with this pencil? He says, you've got 2 minutes. Go ahead. And he says, now I'm looking for someone who's really, really tough. A couple hands shoot up. He calls on Bobby. Brings Bobby up to the front, gives him a piece of paper, says, Bobby, I'm going to give you a pencil, and I want you to draw something unique and amazing. And he takes this freshly sharpened pencil, and he snaps it in half. And he hands Bobby the broken end with the eraser. He says, you've got 2 minutes. Bobby's like, are you serious? What am I supposed to do now? He says, I'm looking for one more person. I'm looking for the fastest person in the class today. And Chloe raises her hand, calls Chloe up, sits her at the desk, gives her a piece of paper, says, here, I'm going to give you a paper and a pencil, hands her a freshly sharpened pencil. He says, I want you to think about what you want to draw. Now he goes back over to student number 1. He says, now you raised your hand as one of the most artistic students in the classroom. I can't wait to see what you've drawn. And he picks up her paper, and there's nothing on it. He's like, what happened? She says, my pencil wasn't sharpened. So he kind of looks flustered. He sets the paper down. He goes to student 2. He says, guys, Bobby's one of the toughest people in this class. I gave him a pencil and paper. I can't wait to show you what he drew. And he picks up Bobby's paper. There's nothing on it. Bobby, what happened? Well, my pencil was broken. The teacher's looking really rattled now. He sets the paper down. He goes, guys, I can't wait to show you what Chloe drew. She is so fast. Chloe, have you thought about what you want to draw? Awesome. 3, 2, 1, go, stop. And he picks up her paper, and there's nothing on it. I said, Chloe, what happened? She's like, you didn't give me enough time. He walks over to student 1, and he says, guys, today we've learned something really powerful. In life, you have the opportunity to draw something unique and amazing. And the people you surround yourself with and the things that you watch and listen to will sharpen your pencil. So surround yourself with the right people, watch and listen to the right things. You'll be able to draw something unique and amazing. And he hands her a freshly sharpened pencil, and she gets to work. He says, Bobby had a broken pencil. And we all know sometimes in life it's going to feel like we're drawing with a broken pencil. And we're going to meet people, and we can just tell their pencil's broken. But what if someone came along who handed you a brand new pencil, helped you fix the broken pencil that you had? When you see someone with a broken pencil, reach out and see how you can fix their pencil. And he hands Bobby a freshly sharpened pencil ready to rock. He goes up to Chloe. He says, guys, Chloe had the potential to draw something unique and amazing, but she waited. She didn't just start. So whatever the idea is for you, whatever it is that you want to do to help make this planet better, go, start, take the first step, do. Go to the next slide, please. I truly consider myself an open book, and today I came to share one simple idea with you. The strongest rope is made of many strands, and that's true for every human being across the entire planet. Whatever it is that you're strengthening your rope with, don't be scared to twist in opposite directions, because I know it's the twisting in those opposite directions that has made my rope strong. If there's anything you need on life's journey, that is how you can get in touch with me. And I'm very grateful to Elizabeth and everyone here for having me today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nicholas. Please join me in singing hymn number 108, My Life Flows On in Endless Song. Please stand as you are willing and able. Our closing words today come from activist Dorothy Day. We have all known the long loneliness, and we have learned that the only solution is love, and that love comes with community.